What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today is December the 19th. Happy Friday, everyone. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is focusing on today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points, we do have a couple ones that's going to be coming out shortly. Existing home sales at 9 a.m. Current forecast is 3.9 million. So the market's going to be caring about that because of some of the recent comments from Powell. Aside from that, Michigan consumer sentiment and current forecast for that is 53.3. So all in all, that's kind of some things that the market is going to somewhat care about. Futures are slightly green, but very low volume. So Dow is up 0.12, S&P up 0.19, NASDAQ up 0.27. So when it comes down to this type of scenario, when we have it somewhat mixed and low volume, in the past, we've usually seen a sharp kind of pullback. And there's a couple of different reasons that could kind of justify that. One of which is this. So this was going to be a big deal for kind of the broader market, and that is Japan raising their rates, and they did 0.25, so 25 basis points. So I know this doesn't seem like anything important or crazy, but this is going to potentially cause a pinch eventually in the American bond market. And not only that though, they are anticipating to continuously raise rates up until around 3.25 to 3.5. So in general, there might be a rotation that does occur. It's not going to be instantaneous, but don't be surprised if you start seeing lower and lower volume in the market. Even this last week, there was around $10.74 billion that left crypto and equity to go back to money markets, which right now the grand total is $7.67 trillion sitting in money markets. So that's kind of crazy stuff. So again, don't be surprised if you kind of see lower volume. Fear and greed index is under the fear category. So it's kind of still shows people appetite for risk is somewhat there on the table. Starting off with SoFi, no news from them so far, but then again, they like to put out news at 8 a.m. So usually before or right after my pre-market video, but still they are in the green, largely just piggybacking off the broader market. Shorts aren't doing anything right now. 9.18% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 113.72 million shares overall being shorted, with it at 26.49. It is right above this S1, so 26.48 is going to be that key pivot. And then 27.10 will be the next strong target / resistance, and then 26.09 will be the next strong support. NIO is in the green, 1.22%, so good to see for that. There really hasn't been that much in updates, so we kind of had this right here. So it looks like the Firefly is testing NIO's 5th gen battery swap station. So good stuff, but I don't know if that's a good reason to buy NIO or anything, but when it comes down to shorts, they similarly aren't doing anything this morning yet. 7.65% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 155 million shares. Right now with that 498, smack dab in the middle between this pivot and this S1. So 492 and 506 is going to be the next strong kind of target and support level. And so this 492 was tested yesterday and it did bounce off of that. So we know this is a good support, but last couple trading days, in all fairness, has been relatively boring. So most likely it might just trade within this set range. So something just to keep in mind. And Nike. So Nike is getting hit quite hard, down 11.47% because of their earnings. And so things obviously aren't that great. And so you can kind of see just based on this is some of their highlights. Looking at the risks and concerns, feel free to kind of pause it and read through it. But it looks like tariffs are kind of the main culprit on why Nike is suffering. Shorts right now aren't doing anything yet. 3.45% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 40.4 million shares overall being shorted, with it at 58.10, trading between this S2 and this S3. 57.76 is going to be a strong support, and then 60.04 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So I think there will be some opportunity to kind of swing trade and day trade, but based on their earnings and from what I read, it doesn't look too great, at least the foreseeable future, which again might be a deterrent for institutions to really buy for the long term. Aside from that, ticker AMST, they are up slightly, 3.08%, a lot of volume. So interestingly enough, this is the most heavily traded stock in the pre-market, but again, I kind of mentioned that we're seeing very, very low volume, so take that with a grain of salt. This is exactly why they are moving higher. So it looks like they are accelerating growth with launch of AI native Nurse Magic EMR. So sounds pretty interesting outside the box. Not heavily shorted, 1.3% of the free float's being shorted, so they obviously won't be that big of a deal in my opinion. Right now with that 232, it is trading between this pivot and this S1, so 229 and 247 is going to be the next strong support and target. And then last but not least, ticker is PDD. So they are getting a lot of good volume. It is up 6.64%. Couple 6Ks did come out, so one was looks like results from their annual shareholder meeting, so nothing crazy for that. And then this one right here is just more of an appointment for this individual right here, for executive officer and whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much what is moving it right now. It's not heavily shorted, so 3.17% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 24.5 million shares overall being shorted. Right now with that 112, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it's actually doing fairly a-okay. But 111.53 is going to be that next strong support, and then 122 is going to be the next strong target. So for today, just watch for that 111 range to hold. If not, then you will be seeing most likely some push lower. I don't see that 104 being touched today whatsoever, but most likely it'll just kind of be between this, around this S1. So let me know your general thoughts on these stocks. Is there any other stocks that's kind of floating your boat? One final thing, pop over to my stacked account if you are looking for some solid on-point day trades, swing trades. So pop over there, take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.